Hello. Good afternoon, Professor Liu and Dr. Tang and all my colleagues. Sorry for my voice today because I just had a common flu just a few days ago. I'm Dr. Vân Anh and currently I'm working in Vinmec Hospital. And it's my honor today to be here and to share with you a little my very humble study that I already conducted for a few years ago. The study is about the value of diffusion weighted MRI imaging in differentiating benign and malignant spinal lesions. And I hope that after this presentation, we're going to have a little few more options to consider to use in our daily practice in spinal imaging diagnosis. So first, why did we choose to do this study? As you know that vertebral body lesions are really not uncommon in our daily practice, especially in the elderly population. And what did we see? We see that up to 1/3 of cases of vertebral compression in elderly people who already have the no malignant disease are osteoporotic vertebral compression, and also up to 1/3 cases of vertebral compression in osteoporotic patients are malignant. So most of the cases can be diagnosed just by using conventional spine MRI for example, T1, T2 steer. And however, sometimes it can be really confusing. For example, in these two cases, as you see here, these both patients, they have the compression, vertebral compression. And the signal, sorry, I have the pointer. All right, and the signal is quite similar on the conventional sequences. For example, low signal on T1 and high signal on T2 and stir. And they also have the little fractal line in the upper part of the vertebral body. And in this case, actually, just one of them on the left picture here, it is the compression due to a metastasis from the breast cancer. And on the right side, you see that this is an acute VC due to the osteoporosis. So what do? We have some techniques. For example, we're using the DEC curve, we're using chemical shift in phase and out phase, or we can use the DWI qualitative and quantitative. So what is the theoretical framework of our study? So briefly, I would say that the signal changes, particularly in the case of vertebral compression, it is had a high signal intensity on stir and even on DWI images. And this signal change is computed due to the intracellular water and the extracellular water. But according to Bauer and his colleague already did the research, the first pilot research in 20 years ago, they realized that the extracellular water protons contribute the signal to increase the ADC signal, but the intracellular, in this case, is the cells of the malignant cells, the water in the malignant cells, contribute the signal to decrease the signal on ADC. So that's why we do the research, the value of DWI imaging in differentiating benign and malignant spinal lesion with two main objectives. The first one is describe the MRI characteristic of the VB lesions, and the second one is to determine the value of DWI on both qualitatively and quantitatively in differentiating between benign and malignant VB lesions. And we were doing this study by the design of cross-sectional prospective descriptive study. and we use the convenience sample. So all of the patients, actually I did this study in my hospital, and all the patients during the 1 year of the time of collection data, we put into the study with the include criteria and exclusion criteria. And the main point of the inclusion criteria is that the patient have to have the confirmed diagnosis based on the criteria in the definitive diagnostic criteria. So in the group of the people that have the malignant lesions, is compulsory to have the biopsy. For the cases of the people that they have the compression due to the osteoporosis situation, so they have to have the BMD test, or in the cases of benign lesions, we do the following up within 6 months. So the data collected using GE MR scanner 1.5T and GE workstation, we're using Infinite Parks. And the basic protocols, as you can see on the screen, the main point that we're using the value of B has 2 values, B1 and B500. That could contribute the different results after. And for the ADC value, we place the square ROIs with the similar area in the lesions, and we use 1 box of the ROI to control in the normal vertebra. And this is how we do the measurement. And the process of collecting data and patient is that we do the conventional MR with all the patient has a symptom or has the indication for the MR. And then if the patient has the lesions in the VB, we send directly to the first reader to analyze and interpret the results, and to classify is a benign or malignant lesions. And then we perform the diffusion MR with ADC map, and we send it to the second reader to analyze it with the combination between the conventional and the diffusion imagings. And then we follow up, or we do the biopsy for the patient, and then we compare these 2 groups of results. So the results we have here, we had in our study 27 patients with 43 affected vertebral body met the inclusion criteria, and in 43 lesions, we have 12 lesions are malignant, and the 31 were benign. And first, we go to evaluate the value of conventional MRI. So we use signal changes, and we use the characteristics of the lesion. So in the characteristics of the lesion, we see that the malignant lesion, we have the just localized in the vertebral body, just 5 out of 12 cases, and 7 out of 12 cases, we have the lesion invaded into the pedicule or the posterior elements. And on the conventional MR signal change, we can see here that in the group of malignant people, 100% of cases had a T1, low signal on T1, and high signal on stir. And majority of the cases had the low signal on T2. Otherwise, in the group of benign lesions, we see that the signal of the patient is quite vary on T2, and also they had 100% of cases were high signal on stir, and they also have most of the cases had a low signal on T1. So low signal on T1, and some cases had a high signal on T1, so these cases were hemangiomas. And besides hemangiomas, all cases of benign lesions had a low signal on T1. So diagnosis of benign and malignant lesions using conventional MRI, we have the result here. We had the accuracy of the test using just only conventional MR is 86.05%. It is quite similar with other reporters. For example, Baker or Jerk, the range is going to be around 80 to 95%. Then we move to the diffusion AMR. So in the diffusion AMR, we see that the first we evaluate the signal intensity of the lesions. And what do we see here? We see that in the group of malignant lesions, 100% of cases had an increased signal on DWI and decreased signal on ADC. On the other hand, in the benign groups, we see that the signal on DWI and ADC are quite varied. And
okay, thank you, because 1 minute is over.